Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry this video's a little late. Been busy and going through school stuff. But as you can see behind me, right here, that that sexy face. Yes. Anyways, um, I said I was gonna do a review on Hannibal, and when I first heard about this, I wasn't sure what to think about. Psychological horror, mystery, not being able to see my eyes because of the nah, uh, nah. But I didn't know what to think. Was it gonna play with me and my emotions? Um, wasn't it gonna surprise me at the end? I had no idea. So one day I was in psychology class, and now I'm rambling on. But I was introduced to the title Hannibal Lecter, and I gave it a look. Psychology teacher recommended it, and I saw it in class, so I was just like, hey, why not? So I found this movie and I watched it, and for what it was, I thought it was an amazing movie. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, maybe a 9. Why not a perfect 10? I felt like it could have offered more for what it was, but at the same time, it offered more than I thought it was going to. And that being said, it was an amazing movie, and I highly recommend it. If you're into horror or crime, it's good. It's not even really a horror movie, it's just a psychological, in depth. I'm not even sure what to call it. It just, when you watch it, you feel somehow good that there are people out there who catch killers, but at the same time, you kind of feel bad that people like Hannibal are probably out there. And setting that aside, it's okay. Maybe it would be better if I explained a little bit more. Anyways, Hannibal Lecter is a murderer who is also a cannibal. Hannibal Lecter. Coincidence? Probably not. But he went around, he killed people, he ate them, and now he's in prison. An FBI agent named Clarice Starling is now just a trainee. She doesn't know what to do with herself, and one day her boss is just like, "Hey, there's a guy. Go study him. Get what you can. Do it." And she does. She senses a challenge and she takes it. She gets to the prison where Hannibal is being held and soon finds out that there's much more than she had bargained for. And I think this is where the story took a twist in the right direction. They could have made her the damsel, which, don't get me wrong, she kind of is, but they could have done less with her, but they didn't. And I love that about this movie. It it pulled out all the stops, and it made her into a good character, well developed, as well as Hannibal. And back to what I was saying, there's a killer on the loose, and basically, she needs to find him. And put the lotion on the skin. Sorry, but he's on the loose, and he needs to be caught. He's a seriously bad guy. Dude is seriously he's crazy. But they're not necessarily sure how to look for him or even really where to start. And that's where Hannibal comes in as the male protagonist in this movie. you can really relate to him. In a sense, he is the bad guy, but he's also doing the good thing for his own twisted deeds. So, as the viewer, should I have been able to relate to him? Should you be able to relate to him? That's where this movie kind of turns from just a movie into a psychological movie. Should you feel bad for Hannibal? I mean, after all, he is a cannibal. He's in prison for a reason. He's killed people. But at the same time, he's smart, he's charming, and he'll do what he can to get out, pretty much. And he has everything planned from the start. From the moment he meets Clarice to actually getting out. Yeah, he gets out. But, anyways, they're on the search for this new murderer. And after the disappearance of a mayor's daughter, things are really uptight and really upbeat. And I don't say that in a good way, but now things are starting to get more interesting. This is where it really starts to get good, guys. Anyways, they're on the hunt, they're searching, they're doing everything they can. And who, pray tell, finds the location of this killer? None other than Hannibal Lecter himself. Well, Hannibal being the guy that he is, you just know there's going to be something in it for him. And what ends up happening is there's a deal to be struck. Hannibal gets out of the current prison that he's in under the terrible guidance of, what do you call them? Anyways, the guy that's in charge of the prisoners he's a D-bag. He's bad. He's a bad guy. Bad guy. And Hannibal gets to go, not free, but to a different prison, to where there are better conditions for him. He can draw, he can look out of a window and see water. He can actually look out and feel the breeze. And that's what he wants. Well, he has to work for it. How? Give information. And again, this leads back to finding the killer at hand. Well, Clarice gets all the hints. She gets all the clues. She gets all the puzzle pieces and puts them all together. She's smart. Smarter than we initially give her credit for at the beginning of the movie. But she does it. And it turns out at the end of the movie, she is the damsel in distress. The main female protagonist is scared. We don't see this really throughout the movie. And it's interesting, through all the plot development and all the character development that she's been given, you don't see her scared like this. Sure, you see her scared when she talks to Hannibal and how he figures her out. Just subtle hints let him into her mind. But that's not what happens here. Towards the end of the movie, the lights go off. She doesn't know what to do. Remember, she's just a trainee. She's never been taught how to do or train in this scenario. So she has to handle herself. And she does it quite well for being in the position that she's in with none to little experience. She kills the bad guy. And what happens next? There's a big celebration. Clarice has graduated. And what about Hannibal? He's out. How? I'm sure it's said, but off the top of my head, I forgot. But he's out. He calls Clarice and says, I'm out. You don't know where I am, but I know where you are. and I will always have eyes on you. And from then on, she just looks around the room, puzzled. Where are you? He doesn't say. And the next thing you see is him walk down a street in what seems to be a different part of the world. And camera switch, hand switch, yes, flawless. And that's where the credits roll. Now, what more can be said about this? Hannibal is a genius based on a real serial killer. The history I haven't really researched, which I probably should have for this review. But unfortunately I didn't. I was lazy and busy with schoolwork, so I'm trying to get this video out to you guys. But what do we think? I want to hear your comments. What do you think about this movie? What do you think of Hannibal, Clarice? What do you think of the movie? Please leave your comments down below and whatnot. Give me your thoughts. But for what we were given, and throughout the sequels that it has spawned, what are we given? Does it link up to any of the sequels? Or do the sequels lead up to this? I'm not sure what to think of this. I enjoy the movie. I enjoy the characters and the plot and the story. It's all, you feel like you're part of it. Or at least I did. And I loved it. But it was otherworldly where for just a moment, you're taken out of it and thrown right back in, and you don't know what to do. You're left jaw dropped. And I guess that's what a good movie should do. Leave your mouth hanging open, wondering what's going to happen next. But with this, it left me jaw dropped in an eerily weird way, to where I didn't want to know what happened next. I wanted to know next movie. I wanted more sequels, prequels, more movies and adaptations, books. I have both books, Manhunter, Hannibal, and I've read them cover to cover, back to front, contents to index, whatever. I've read them. And in my opinion, this is where a good example of the movie is better than the book. And I highly recommend both the movies and books. If you can find the book, read it. Get it, read it. If you can find the movie, watch it. But I guess this is really the end of the review. So please leave your comments down below, like it up, and subscribe. And maybe Jeepers Creepers. Maybe next time. Anyways, later y'all.